In Death Unchained. Wow, 952 ratings on Quest Store at almost a perfect 5-star rating? Ugh, this review is gonna bother some people. First off, let me just say, I was sent this game for free, and this is a preview version of the Quest 2 update. So they basically updated visuals and other things to catch up with the new hardware. Okay, now let's talk about this game. It's a VR roguelike. Sound cool, right? Yeah, I thought so, but, well, let's just start talking about the general concept of what you do before I go into my typical complain like an idiot mode. So the idea is pretty simple. You are man. Man gets bow. Man kills with bow. Man tries not to die. Man keeps going and going and, oh yeah, pray to the RNG gods. There really isn't much of a story other than that. There's a lot of Christian satanic undertones, knights bearing crusade-like armor. In fact, I don't really know why you're attacking this procedurally generated castle in the first place, but that's fine. It does its thing. The visuals of this game, as I said, were updated to take advantage of the Quest 2, which is what I was playing with in this video. Well, most of this video. More on that later. They feel kinda groggy to me. I know I'm only showing the first levels before the first boss, but the first impression of a game are pretty important. And most players will probably spend an hour or maybe a few hours before they see any other visuals. Which they change up a bit the further you go, but well, I don't feel the urge to go that far. Visuals for mobile chipset game, okay, but feel, Let's talk about the audio design. There really isn't much. The game has a nice, albeit generic, choir going in the background while you're starting up the game. But after it loads in, silence. Kinda feels sad. Nothing except the weird modulated cat noises and children's screams from the archers. You start to hear it a lot, and I feel this game really could have benefited with some music during gameplay. Just feels off. The enemies in this game pretty much vary from sword guy who slowly walks at you and swings, to zombie hordes who run at you, to archers teleporting behind you for unfair damage shots on you. Oh, I hated when they did that. And, bosses. Yeah, bosses. Probably the best and worst part of this game, depending on your run. Oh, and these ghosts. Oh, these ghosts, which made me almost have to change my shorts when I first saw them. They can go through walls. Surprise! So you were given a weapon at the beginning of the run. Oh boy, where to begin? Well, the default weapon is a bow. Throughout the run, you're supposed to either find or buy special arrows that will boost your chance of going farther. Maybe this is the part that made me start to not like this game. You can get super lucky and get a bunch of explosive arrows, which genuinely seem the best. Or enemies will drop a bunch of health potions that you don't need because you're at full health and you can't even store them or take them with you anyway. Yeah, there's no inventory system, and it really sucks. Let's say you get an unlucky position later and take on a bunch of hits. You're pretty much screwed. I mean, you can go all the way back, probably, and grab those potions that you kind of passed along the way, but I don't know, they might not be there. Lack of potion inventory sucks in my opinion, and it makes the RNG factor even more terrible. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but you probably get the idea if you played a lot of roguelikes in or out of VR. The bow itself, well, here we go, the inevitable complaint. I had issues with it. I mean, it's a standard bow. Works like you would expect if your Quest is keeping up with tracking. Yes, I said it. I had some small issues with tracking my right hand when pulling back the bow, and the camera's losing sight of it, my hand. And to be fair, I probably could have learned to deal with it, but I am so ingrained with having 360-degree tracking on PC VR. Yeah, it just feels bad. I almost rage quit the game completely and wasn't going to do this review if the crossbow didn't unlock. A crossbow! Yeah, I feel a lot of the footage you're seeing so far has me using the crossbow, and that's for a reason. The main reason is, it just feels better due to my tracking complaint. It guarantees full damage values at all times, and you never having slight tracking hiccups using it. And the main reason is because both hands will always be in front of you while you're using it. Whereas the bow, you are usually pulling back the string, and your hand kind of goes behind you in certain angles and weird ways. So going into a room with a bunch of enemies is just generally less stressful than using a bow, and one of your arrows missing the mark because your headset's cameras can't keep up with the speed of your hand and going in and out of its FOV. Oh, it's a problem I tend to have with a lot of VR games on the Quest that have a bow. I just can't use the full range of motion that I'm kind of used to due to its limitation. People would hate on me for saying this, I know, but I just don't think bow games translate too well right now to inside-out tracked headsets as much as, well, lighthouse tracked headsets. I was going to end the review pretty much here to make it short, but then I figured if I'm going to complain about this game's bow and like whether my experience with the tracking is that big of a deal, I better just make sure it's not the actual bow gameplay I hate a lot. So, yeah, I decided to search In Death Unchained, or actually just In Death, I guess. Oh, I get it. It's Unchained on Quest because untethered. Yeah, okay. Good one, devs. I bought and downloaded the game on Steam for PC VR. Wow, 761 reviews on here that are very positive. I hope I don't piss off buyers on both platforms in this one review. But yeah, I started to play the game on my Index with Steam VR. So if you're wondering how the better half lives, well, here you go. I feel like I'm playing an entirely different game. Look at those visuals. Wow. And this is just the first area too. I played through the first entire level with the bow and arrow. No issues. In fact, I found the game much more enjoyable. How about that? But the game is definitely more fun when you use the bow. It's a shame I feel forced to use the crossbow in the Quest/Unchained version. Yeah, I get why some people like the game. When things are working right and you're trained to play it on your own platform, it can be a great game. Hell, it came out in 2018 for PC VR and only 2020 for Quest users. A lot of people are introduced with VR with Quest, so if they aren't going to be so picky with learning how to use a bow in a non-360 degree FOV tracking system, yeah, I could see how people use the bow and enjoy the experience with it. But it didn't do it for me. Felt like there may be better options, especially for $30. Until You Fall is $25 on Quest, and I feel the overall experience you get from that game is way better than this. So yeah, maybe I'll do a review on that game for Quest to prove why. So in conclusion, In Death Unchained, probably not a flawed game for most people. But for me, it didn't give me that feeling that I gotta keep playing. I just ran into a bunch of frustrations that I feel could have been solved heavily with a way to store a few health potions and better tracking, but it's not the game's fault. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I gotta go brace myself for the downvotes on this video due to people with differing opinions. Have a safe day, everyone, and bye!